We had a dream. Some might have called it a fantasy. We had a vision of an institution that could value learning, not time, that could deliver knowledge where people are, as opposed to people having to go where the knowledge is.
Innovation in higher education is unusual. That's what makes the story of Western Governors University, or WGU, so extraordinary. In just 15 years, WGU has grown from an idea to a national university with more than 33,000 students and 16,000 graduates. This is the story of WGU's first 15 years and the remarkable people who helped create a new kind of university for the 21st century.
I was governor at the time, and I was, like all governors, looking at what are the challenges of the future. It was evident to me that colleges and universities were seeing more and more demand. People were having to go back to be educated again and again. And each year the universities would come and say, we've got to have more buildings and bigger campuses and larger budgets. I began to ask the question, can this model be sustained over a long period of time, or do we need to start thinking about the way education is delivered? I realized that there were other governors who felt the same way. One day there was a meeting in Park City, and in the course of that discussion, we decided that there needed to be a new kind of institution that could emerge, that could begin to harness the power of technology, but also rethink the process.
In the summer of 1995, the governors gathered again in Las Vegas, this time with representatives from higher education and industry.
That meeting put fuel on this fire, that there was a need to not just rethink for economic reasons, but to rethink so that we were delivering what business needed to be successful and what job creators needed. One of the original governors was Roy Romer. Roy Romer was the governor of Colorado. He was a pilot and had been a pilot instructor, and he said, one of the things that I admire about the system of training pilots is that competency is the measurement, not how much time you spend.
I was focused on competence-based. What led me to that was that we make judgments about whether you're prepared by how many hours you sit in a class. And there are other ways to determine competency. And I was very interested in higher education institution, which was more reasonable cost, good quality, high quality, but yet if you could go and prove that you're competent, you didn't need to sit in the class. You could take a demonstration or a test and prove it.
At our summer meeting in Omaha, then we officially kicked it off, formed it. I think there were 10 of us that put on our WGU sweatshirts and officially launched the establishment of the Western Governors University.
That day, 10 governors signed on, and each committed $100,000 to fund the initial implementation of Western Governors University. Soon after, 9 more governors would add their support. In January 1997, WGU's Articles of Incorporation were signed, and Western Governors University was born. With initial financial support of government, foundations, and private industry, WGU was on its way. Key leaders in higher education, such as Clara Lovett, then president of Northern Arizona University, and Sam Smith, then president of Washington State University, were instrumental in the development and acceptance of WGU.
I remember 4 or 5 of us sitting around a dining room table saying, how do we do this?
Less than 2 years later, with a ceremonial mouse click, WGU opened its virtual doors to a small group of students.
Like any new enterprise, the idea had to take root with people who could support it and move us forward. Many of those were business people. One I'll never forget was Scott McNeely, who was at the time the chairman and CEO of a company called Sun Microsystems. He listened to the story, asked a few questions, and then he stood up and went to his desk, and he took out a checkbook and wrote out a very big check and said, "I believe this needs to happen."
This is a great idea. It's a wonderful idea, and so they had me hook, line, and sinker from the get-go. I was CEO of Sun, but it had nothing to do with Sun, and I wrote a personal check. I don't know why. It was a personal check, not a Sun check. It's great that that investment went to go create what I think is one of the most fascinating, new, and unheralded educational institutions on the planet.
In 1999, the university's board tapped Robert Mendenhall, an entrepreneur with more than 25 years of experience in technology-based learning, to be the first president of WGU.
My career had been in technology and education, so when Governor Leavitt approached me and talked about the support of 19 governors and 20 corporations to create a new technology-based university, it was too good to pass up.
By the fall of 1999, WGU had launched degree programs in IT and learning and technology, but growth was slow.
In the early years, we had lots of negative press that we would never get off the ground. But I had confidence with the backing of the governors and the corporations which we had behind us, and with the power of the idea that had been created by the governors, we would be able to execute and create a university that would realize their vision.
The year 2000 culminated with WGU's first commencement and a single graduate, Jenny Kirch.
If you only have a few graduates, what you do is you walk them across the stage several times.
For WGU to grow, the university needed one thing: accreditation.
What was challenging about accreditation when we initially sought regional accreditation and then NCATE for the Teachers College was to get traditional accrediting bodies, boards, to understand the model. The model is comprised of two hallmarks. One is competency-based education. The other one is a disaggregated faculty role. Those two things are very different as they are implemented here at WGU, and it takes time for people to really understand those two models and how they play out.
In February of 2003, WGU became the first, and still the only, university to earn accreditation from 4 regional accrediting institutions.
When we received accreditation, it was euphoric. I mean, we just went through the roof.
The key turning point for WGU came when we finally received regional accreditation in 2003. And a month after that, we announced the launch of the Teachers College, which was created with a $10 million grant from the U.S. Department of Education. Those two events, and I think also the hiring of Pat Partridge to head up marketing for WGU, began a tremendous growth curve from WGU.
In 2007, as the university celebrated its first 10 years, WGU had clearly turned the corner. Enrollment continued to grow by 30% a year, and the number of graduates was growing even faster, and the country was taking notice.
We're back now to our special series highlighting success stories called For Good Reason, What Works. Tonight we introduce you to a university aimed at adult students who don't have time for traditional bricks and mortar schools.
In 2010, Indiana Governor Mitch Daniels partnered with WGU to establish WGU Indiana.
We have struck an arrangement which we're going to formalize here, as I see it, to create the 8th state university in Indiana, and to fit, I think, very, very neatly into the largest single remaining need in Indiana higher ed, this opportunity to add, as Mark likes to say, to the family of opportunities in higher education in Indiana. This unique possibility for particularly our adult aspirants to pursue the college degree they've always wanted and needed on a schedule they can manage at a cost they can afford.
Less than a year later, the Washington State Legislature established WGU Washington, and as it did in Indiana, enrollment surged. In its first year, WGU Washington grew to more than 2,600 students. WGU Texas, established in August of 2011 by Governor Rick Perry, is WGU's newest state-based university.
WGU was originally created by the governors to be a higher education resource that could be shared by the states. As we create our state universities, we're adding affordable capacity to state higher education systems.
WGU's reputation for leading the way in competency-based, technology-enabled education continues to grow.
WGU is an affordable, online, nonprofit institution that measures the success of its 29,000 students, most of them working adults, not by credit hours, but by demonstrated mastery of a subject, whether it's in information technology, nursing, the field of business, or preparation to teach.
Innovation in higher education is very, very difficult. And for a model like this to become so successful is the mark of the dedication of the people who work here, the leadership of people here. It's just an extraordinary achievement, and it is still unique in American higher education.
WGU's long-term impact will ultimately be determined by the success of its graduates, already more than 16,000, who are realizing their personal and professional dreams.
My name is Tammy Ramsey. I am a 41-year-old wife, mother, and now a college graduate.